And also in Chicago, the 4th of July holiday once again erupted in gun violence. Homicides so far this year already up nearly 50% over last year. NBC News spent the holiday weekend tracking the violence on the streets with police and found an image that says it all. Don't shoot. Kids at play. Today, the grim tally is in. 50 people shot this weekend, 3 of them children. 3 adults were killed. Tonight, our Ron Mott takes us onto the streets with those trying to end the bloodshed.
Since the beginning of the year, Chicago has more homicides than New York and Los Angeles combined.
2 little kids are among the victims of gun violence in Chicago this 4th of
Caught
July
in the crossfire last night, 2 young cousins playing at a family celebration. Corey Bondurant is 8 years old. His cousin Tanaya, just 5. Corey's mother, Alicia.
It's sad because I try to protect my kids as much as possible. So for somebody to come out and just open fire, sorry for cursing, and shoot my baby like that, that's crazy. So.
During the weekend we spent on the streets, we tracked shootings near playgrounds and schools. This block is virtually empty, and maybe this has something to do with it.
That's a shame, man. We got to have our kids gated in order for them to play and have some fun.
Raymond Richard is a grandpa now. Used to be in a gang, tries to turn those lives around. Can the police stop all this nonsense?
No, they can't stop it. Every one of us is better than any one of us. And that means community, police, elected officials. We must all come together, man.
I know everybody's working hard, but 72 homicides in June is just ridiculous. That's just unacceptable.
Before the weekend, a gang roundup, 88 arrests, mostly convicted felons. Superintendent Eddie Johnson ordering all hands on deck. NBC News was given rare access to the city's Crime Prevention and Information Center, where officers keep close watch over a vast network of surveillance cameras. This weekend, a little progress. Fatalities down from previous holidays. There are police everywhere.
Right.
That's obviously not sustainable, or is it?
Well, to a certain extent.
Overall happy, though?
I don't know if happy is the word I use, but I am encouraged.
Still, tonight, 11-year-old Isias Lopez is one of 3 kids recovering from gunshot wounds.
The doctor said that this bullet was meant to kill someone.
A city struggling to contain its violence despite its best efforts. Ron Mott, NBC News, Chicago.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here.
Last night you tweeted about the murder rate in Chicago, saying, if Chicago doesn't fix the horrible carnage going on, I will send in the feds. You will send in the feds. What do you mean by that?
Carnage. You know, in my speech, I got tremendous from certain people, the word carnage. It is carnage. It's horrible carnage. This is, Afghanistan is not like what's happening in Chicago. People are being shot left and right. Thousands of people over a short period of time. This year, which has just started, is worse than last year, which was a catastrophe. They're not doing the job. Now, if they want help, I would love to help them. I will send in what we have to send in. Maybe they're not going to have to be so politically correct. Maybe they're being overly political correct. Maybe there's something going on. But you can't have those killings going on in Chicago. Chicago is like a war zone. Chicago is worse than some of the people that you report and some of the places that you report about every night.
So I will
in the Middle East.
You mentioned federal assistance. There's federal assistance and then there's sending in the feds. I'm just curious, will you take action on your own?
I want them to fix the problem. You can't have thousands of people being shot in a city, in a country that I happen to be president of. Maybe it's okay if somebody else is president. I want them to fix the problem. They have a problem that's very easily fixable. They're going to have to get tougher and stronger and smarter, but they got to fix the problem. I don't want to have thousands of people shot in a city where essentially I'm the president. I love Chicago. I know Chicago. And Chicago is a great city, can be a great city. It can't be a great city If people are shot walking down the street for a loaf of bread, it can't be a great city.
And if they are unable to fix it, that's when you would
Well,
send
so
in
far
the
they
feds.
have been unable. It's been going on for years. And I wasn't president. What's going on? So all I'm saying is to the mayor, who came up to my office recently, I say you have to smarten up and you have to toughen up, because you can't let that happen. That's a war zone.
This is a warning.
I want them to straighten out the problem. It's a big problem.
Police say the shots came from one or more vehicles.
Over 1,200 shootings in the city so far this year.
It's time for someone to step up and stop some of this violence.
Inglewood is historically one of the worst neighborhoods in the city of Chicago and also in the entire United States of America. There have been children murdered while sleeping in their beds because bullets penetrated the walls while they were sleeping. Inglewood is generally a place where no one feels safe. What brought me to the corner of 75th and Stewart was a young lady was murdered. Her name was Lucille Barnes. She was 34, and she was a mother, and she was just trying to break up a fight, and she was killed in a drive-by. I didn't know her, but I was outraged. And I felt like at this point, if mothers are being murdered, something has to be done. What size is that? Some people thought that it was too dangerous to go and sit on a corner in a place where someone had just been murdered 3 days before. We went out, we put on pink t-shirts, and we went and sat on the corner. We got some hot dogs and we fed people. We talked to people. More importantly, we gave out a lot of hugs. So we got together, these moms who had the time and who had the passion for it. And I felt that, you know, being there and being a present and having eyes on the street and eyes on the children, that it would interrupt and it would prevent a lot of stuff that could potentially happen. While you're doing that, you're playing a game with a kid that you may never get to play with. We want them to grow up together so that when they're older, they're not enemies and they're not targets of one another. They're not shooting or killing each other. Since we posted up on the corner of 75th and Stewart, there have been no shootings on that block. No shootings, no murders. There hasn't even been as much as a fist fight. There's a sense of hope that they didn't have before, all because we're mothers, and you don't want to underestimate the power of the mother.